So recently I was in Bangkok, and what I did was I gave a session about 35 minutes of how to create testimonials. So remember, in one of the sessions I said that the last step of a selling cycle is actually about getting testimonial. So I'm going to give you all I have in this 50 minutes, which I've shared with people who pay me $25,000 to learn. Well, you may say that it's very obscene amount of money, but you know what? If you are able to take what I'm teaching you and implement this just one step, you can create your program and you can run a series of previews. Right now, I'm getting my event producer to do the second preview. When we have got people already coming in and say yes, they are attending. And the reason why we are able to do this is because of this particular strategy. Instead of sharing with you how, I'm going to show you how to do that. But before I do that, I almost forgot. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please click subscribe button below so that my videos can be spread to a wider reach of people. Would you be willing to do this for me? Thank you very much. And there's a bell button. Hit the bell and get notified so that you know when is the next video to be uploaded on my channel. Would that be cool? Okay, now let's get to the matter. That is how to create testimonial. So like I said, instead of teaching you the theory or the concept, I'm showing you how to do that. Okay, I'm showing you how to do that. I'm going to give you examples, and these examples would demonstrate why some of these testimonials you do not want, some of these testimonials you want. And I can only share with you my experiences. Would that be okay? All right, okay, good. Number one, no matter what you do, remember one thing. You want to create a list, or what we call the list of the testimonial or case studies. And you want to create in a place that you can retrieve these case studies easily. Why? Because at the end of the day, when you're showing the testimonials in your live events, put it on the PowerPoint slides. Imagine that you put one video there, one video there, one video. It's very, very messy. So the first thing I learned is actually I model some of the influencer strategies. That is, on my YouTube channel, I've got a Jack Wong's global community. So this is the first thing I did. I created a channel called Jack Wong's global community. So just going to this list, I'm going to put a link there. You can actually go and visit. All I'm saying is that the testimonials are all there. That's number one. Number two, you want to, on your website, the front page, create a list of your written case studies as well as videos. So on my website, I'm going to put a link there also. You can see that on my website, the first page, I've got videos of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I've got like 16 videos if I'm not wrong. All you can see is that I've got all the videos there, and these are all the testimonials. Are they all perfect? No. But my point is that you can actually show a lot of video testimonials on your website, on the YouTube channel. Would that be cool? All right, so this is the first thing that I want you to do holistically from a broad picture perspective. That's something you want to build. So that when you retrieve these testimonials or case studies, it becomes easier and not so messy. All right? So number one, the first type of testimonial is what I remember back in 2004, August in Malaysia, because in a 5-day program that I set for the first time with Joe Bauer. Joe Bauer is the trainer in that program. So during the event, we do not know each other well, but we are asked to actually do testimonials for each other. So I still don't know exactly how I did. So when I look at my testimonials, I've got some very interesting one. That is, like, Jack is a good guy. He's handsome. He's charismatic. So how many of you find that these testimonials have been those that you have been collecting in the past? Comment below. So at the same time, think about whether you can really use these testimonials. If you say yes, I want you to rethink, because the answer is that I can't use that. Does that make sense? I can't use that. Because this is what we call character testimonial. And there's a name for this, character testimonial. But the problem of having a character testimonial is that it doesn't show the viewers any results. Because at the end, people buy because of your results, not because of who you are in terms of your characters. Does that make sense? So I think that character testimonial is something that you can't really use. The only one which I said to the Bangkok student is that unless you've got a woman, so I'm not being sexist here, but the point is that unless you have got a character testimonial from a woman or woman with a kid, doesn't matter. So but from a woman who is sharing with the viewers the character of myself, but it is in tears, but she is in tears. So the exception I make to character testimonial is the one that comes from a woman, and the woman, when she's sharing, she is in tears. That will be very powerful. So that's the one that I said, character testimonial, yes, for that kind of character testimonial, I will take it. Okay? So the second one is called the before and after testimonial. So how many of you have watched some testimonials about weight management? Like before I met Jack, I was 70 kilo, and I couldn't even see my genital. I feel that I feel absolutely depressed because of my health, and that it affected my wealth, my family relationship. So this is the before, and after I met Jack, going through his coaching program, not only I begin to see my shape, regain my shape, I begin to see my genital, I increase my self-esteem, I improve my relationship with my family and my loved ones, and now I begin to see the income coming in exponentially. And all this, I can say one thing, is because of Jack's process, and it works. And thank you, Jack, for helping me and save my life. So this is what we call the classic before and after testimonial. Very common for people to showcase a transformational process, particularly in the industry called the weight management industry. Before meeting you, I was 200 pounds. After I met you, I'm now down to 130 because of a particular process. But again, you do not spend time or explain what the process is, because nobody cares about the process. People only care about the results that you bring on table. So when you structure a before and after, you do not emphasize on your process, but what is the before and what is the after. So you just focus on the point A and the point B. That is the point before meeting you and the results after meeting you, and that is it. That's pretty easy. All right. So the next one, I'm not going to take the credit. I'm going to give credit to Alex Mandossian, my teacher. It's called the problem, action, and result. So the PAR method, which I found that is very interesting, because what's the difference between a problem, action, and result testimonial as opposed to a before and after? So that's my own experience. Okay, so I share with you again in the last videos. I talk about I like to learn from my teachers, and I share with you what I have learned and implemented from my teachers. Okay, so that is how I differentiate myself from other people who simply quote what their teacher has learned, because I put what I learned from my teachers into practice and create something tangible. And that's why now I'm sharing with you my experience on my tangible stuff. Sidebar, what have I just done? So what I've just done is called, I'm teaching you, I'm deconstructing what I teach. Because many people found that when I am not sharing with you exactly what have I done, I'm not being transparent. But what if I'm actually sharing with you what I've just done is actually a process to help you to understand me better, because I'm now a transparent person. So this sidebar technique is what I've talked about in the 6 flip chart close. And this is a very powerful thing. So I can't help but keep doing this naturally. So I need to have a sidebar to remind me that, yes, I've just done that again. All right, so coming back to the PAR. So PAR talks about the problem, the action, and the result. So it's very similar, but there's a subtle difference between the two. So the problem, I like to actually teach my clients, my students, what is the biggest problem, obstacle, struggle they face. What is the biggest problem? So you see that a lot of people have a lot of problems, but if I were to allow them to have have a free flow of problems, my testimony is going to be like 4, 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So I don't need that. I'll just ask them what is the biggest one, so that they just focus on the one, and then that will streamline my testimonial. So that is the first thing I teach my student. You got to ask them the biggest problem, struggle, okay, say it again, the biggest problem, roadblocks, obstacle, struggle, challenge, whatever, just one thing. Okay, so that's the key about the problem. The second one is action. So because of the problem, what they have done, what have they done? So they have enrolled in a program. They are signed up for your coaching program. They went to your live class. So the action to me is always the easiest one to explain, because they have done something, that is, they came to see you. That is the action. And then the result. The result is basically something that has to be quantifiable and measurable. So I have a very deep insight about that. Because if you are saying that, Jack, I'm teaching money making stuff, trading in the stock market, trading in the property market, or teaching people how to sell and the business income goes up, yes, it becomes easier to quantify. So before I met Jeff, the biggest problem for me is that I don't know how to talk to a stranger, and therefore the moment I open my mouth, my literal voice shut me down. I couldn't actually make any sale in front of a stranger. But I said enough is enough. I have to see Jack. I've sought his help. And the biggest thing that I've gotten from this program by Jack is that I made my first sale just within the first day after the training. For the very first time in my life, I see $10 coming to my pocket, which I have never made before. I remember the feeling of receiving the $10. It's so strong, it's feeling so good, that I'm absolutely confident that I will actually make more of the tens or hundreds of thousands in future. So you see that this is something that you can quantify. So I've got objections before, but I'm actually in the relationship. I'm actually in the health. I don't know how to quantify. So here's what I found out, and I'm going to give this to you for free. So thank you for my students who gave me this problem. I solved that. Now I'm giving you this for free so that you don't need to ask me anymore. So if you're talking about health, simply put, it is about either weight or your body, if you're talking about diabetes, your health condition, you can measure by your vitality index. So a lot of times when you talk about health, you can actually measure it. So again, I want you to be very specific. So if your client is not giving you specific thing, like, okay, that's the reason why I signed for Jack's program, and you know what, I'm so healthy, I feel that I'm so energized. It doesn't work because there's no specific results. So you got to ask specifically what is the result after they have seen you. So health can be quantified. Now, the other thing is about relationship. How do you measure the relationship in terms of article or unit? So I said, well, how about using time? So my example that I typically use is, before I met Jack, the biggest problem is that I was so busy with my work, I couldn't even see my son half an hour a day. I feel so miserable. I'm not a good father. That's the reason why enough is enough. I went to see Jack. I went for his relationship program. I finally discovered that I can spend time with my son. And in fact, after the program, I'm now not able to only spend half an hour a day. I have actually 3 hours a day with my son. I finally get to know my son much better and better. The communication level is awesome. That kind of intimate relationship is something that I've never found before. And this valuable 3.5 hours a day or 3 hours a day really is something that I'm now so happy to receive. Thank you, Jack. So you see, you can actually quantify in terms of the time, the quality time you spend with your loved ones. That again can be measured. So how about this? Productivity. So before I met Jack, the biggest problem is I don't know how to prioritize my time. Every single day I'm just hustling, I'm busy, but I don't know what I've done. So I feel very lost. I don't know what is the reason why I still keep on doing this. That's why I asked Jack for help. So Jack gave me some very simple and very easy templates to work on. And you know what? The biggest thing that I discovered is that I am now able to be not a hustler anymore. I'm not busy anymore, but yet I'm productive because I can recover 3 hours a day, which I didn't have in the past because of the absence of the templates that Jack has given me. These 3 hours is so critical for me to be productive in terms of my business, in terms of the time I spend with my loved ones. And now I have more time with my family, and the freedom is just awesome. So again, to me, health, wealth, and relationship can all be measured. So it can be time, it can be your productivity, it can also be your money. And for trainers specifically, I have one for you as well. That's called the amount of people you have impacted. So for example, I'm just giving you one. Before I met Jack, the biggest problem is that I've never speaking in front of a group of 100 people, because the biggest fear I have is what we call public humiliation. I do not want to speak in front of the room because I remember my teacher when I was 15 years old. I was on stage giving a speech. Some of the students point finger at me and say that your fly is off, you didn't zip up. And I feel so embarrassed. And by the way, this is a real story. I'm not making this up. So this is like some people are laughing at me because of that. So I swear that I'm never going on stage anymore. But you know what? Because of Blair Singer's training, he helped me understand that while I can be back on stage to effectively impact many people's life. So what happened is that the first time after the trainer, this is the key, I was able to speak in front of a room of 60 people. And then life is never the same. So since then, I've been speaking in a room of 60, 80, 100. The largest room I've ever spoken is 5,000. So you see, for trainers, you can actually talk about the numbers of lives you have impacted in the room. So don't tell me that you cannot quantify. All right? So this is called the PAR method. So what is the difference between PAR and before and after? I like PAR because you can use that as a case study specifically about the biggest problem, which has nothing to do with you. It's the biggest problem. So people focus on the biggest problem, and then by doing something which means that enroll in your continuing education or decide to sign for your program, that's the result. So you are therefore the change agent. So the focus is not about your process, it's you being the change agent. So you see that the before after is about the process. PR focuses on you being the change agent. You are the one who created the impact and resulted in the change. So that is the first thing I know. And the powerful thing about PAR is that I have come up with something called POAR. So that is what I feel is even more powerful. Because imagine you have got a PAR that you're going to deal with 10 students. Each and every one of them will do a PAR for you, and you got 10 PAR case studies. But here's one thing I noticed. Have you been wondering that the students deciding to embrace your process has obliterated a particular objection? So your PAR method, which is the version 2 of PAR, will deal with the objection, how you obliterate the objection. So perhaps like that's why I see Jack, because I find Jack a real person, because he doesn't talk about theory, he implements. So that's the reason why I signed up for his program. So how about another person? The other person says that wow, I see Jack, he's very charismatic. I don't know why, because I just love to connect with him. So these are all what we call objection. Why people would go and see and embrace the offer. They may do so for different reasons. So when you feature a case study, don't underestimate the power, because you will use the case study to obliterate a particular objection throughout your pitch and presentation, so that at the end, your selling becomes easier. When you make the offer, it becomes easier because the amount of the objections that you might be facing will be reduced because you have already done that throughout the presentation. You can feature a case study, you can feature another case study to do that. Okay, so that's the PAOR method. All right, so I hope that you enjoyed this particular session, which I actually spent 35 minutes to speak to 20 people in the room in Bangkok. Each of them pays $25,000 to learn, but you get it for free. But it's okay, no problem, so that you don't need to ask me anymore. Hope they enjoyed this session, this video, and if you do have any other questions on speaking, training, and facilitation, comment below, and I'd love to connect with you and see I may be able to answer some of your questions in the form of videos in future. Cool? Alright, Jet One signing off here. All good wishes.